We're thrilled to have so many of you here tonight. We're taking the time to do two exciting things. We are launching the Soe Awards, and on top of that, we're having you work on your personal and business brands through your LinkedIn profile. So we're going to start off the session with a quick poll. We'd love to know if you already have a connection to the Soe Awards, and we'd also love to know how you're feeling about your LinkedIn profile right now. And so Hannah's going to go ahead and launch that, and we can have that running while people are still joining. While you're filling that out, I'll go over some housekeeping notes. We are recording this session today for anyone who's not able to make it. So just know that if your camera's on, we are recording. And we love to see you. So we do encourage you to have your camera on, and especially during the breakout sessions. But please mute yourself during the program piece so that we can hear the speakers. Especially while so many people are at home with lots of new companions, it's helpful to have the mute on. We'll just give a couple of minutes for people to fill out the poll. Okay, so it looks like a lot of people are new to Soe, so that's exciting. We have a third of the people on have nominated people for Soe, so that's excellent. That's nice to see. Poll's still going, but we have some Soe winners. That means they were also finalists, and we have some volunteers. We have some of our Soe committee and our judge here tonight, so that's exciting. Hannah, can other people see the poll results?
Yes, it is sharing, so if everyone can see it.
Perfect. Okay, so yeah, so 2/3 of people new to Soe. That's great. And then we've got a real mixed result on LinkedIn profiles. So some people don't have one yet. Some people need some updates. Some people are feeling pretty good. And maybe our presenter and, and another person already rock their profile. So that's good to see. And the great thing about tonight's presentation is wherever you're at, I think that it can definitely be helpful. So thanks for sharing that, Hannah. Let's take that down. And then what to expect tonight. So we'll give an introduction on the awards, which is great since 2/3 of people are new to it. And we'll also kick off the awards. It's exciting to be having the kickoff tonight and nominations opening soon. And but then we'll have a breakout session. So both Weave and Soe and LinkedIn are about making connections and raising your brands. And so the breakout session is a time for you to do that, make connections with each other. So we'll have 10 minutes where you'll be in groups and have some time with each other. And then we'll introduce tonight's speaker, Lauren Jolder. She's got a really terrific interactive session on how to rock your profile. And she has created it just for you tonight, and really kind of focusing on women and business owners and tailoring it to you. So we're really excited for you to hear from her. Okay, so what are the Soe Awards? So since 2/3 of you are new, I'll give you a brief introduction. The awards were actually founded in 2011 by Kathy Feldman, who was a beloved local entrepreneur and a real champion for women and women business owners. And Kathy created the awards and ran them, and she's sadly missed. And Weave has been hosting the awards since 2019. Carrying on her legacy, and each year we recognize women entrepreneurs, and we celebrate 10 different industries. So anything from arts and entertainment, hospitality and tourism, non-profits, science and technology, kind of showing the real breadth of entrepreneurship that we have in this region. We also recognize a rock star, someone who's made a contribution in their life that's really inspiring, that's impacted their community, and someone for us all to look up to. And we just found out today about that our rock star is will be joining us. So we'll be sharing that news in February, but very, very excited about this year's rock star. And then in Kathy's honor, the awards through the Kathy Feldman Fund also give funds to support high school and collegiate entrepreneurship, so the next generation of entrepreneurs. And then how do you define the spirit of entrepreneurship? What are we celebrating in 2021? And how is that maybe different than in the past? So when you fill out the application, it asks about success and innovation and brand identity and community impact. And those are all obviously key things for your business. But what we found by speaking to some people who were nominated and didn't apply is that sometimes people decide that I'm not worthy, or I'm not going to be able to, they must be looking for a certain sales number, so I won't apply. So we wanted to share that we really do look at the whole entrepreneur. We're looking at the challenges faced, the growth you've shown, your perseverance and resiliency, especially during a year like this last year, and your pandemic response this year. That's something new that we're looking at. How have you been impacted and how have you responded? And so we're giving more weight this year to some of those, the right-hand side there. And so we want to encourage people to go ahead and do the application. You know, we really want to capture the full character of entrepreneurship. And we hope that means that we'll get even more applications. We got a lot of applications last year, but we'll get even more, and then we'll have a real diverse pool of applicants. So then what's the timeline? So tonight we're kicking off the awards. Nominations will open on Monday. And it's open for 3 weeks, but it only takes a minute or two to fill out the nominations. And you can nominate as many people as you like. So feel free to do that on Monday. You can nominate yourself, and we do encourage that. It isn't a part of the judging criteria how many nominations you get or who nominated you. So it's okay to nominate yourself, and you don't have to get 10 people to nominate you. And then we kind of verified that the nominees, you know, they were a women business owner, and they are in Santa Barbara, Ventura County. And then we open the applications for everyone that fits those criteria. So they'll be open from Feb 21st to March 21st. And there will be encouragement and support along the way. We have heard that people sometimes feel a bit intimidated by the application form, and people need a bit of encouragement to brag about themselves. So we'll be offering support to help you do that. And then we announce, there can only be 10 winners, but we do announce the finalists on April 21st. We announced 3 women finalists in each of the industry categories. So we'll be celebrating 30 women and all of the impact that women make on the local business community. And then in May, we'll be having the awards event where we'll celebrate the winners and also our Rockstar Lifetime Achievement recipient. So why nominate someone, or why take the time to enter? And I would suggest that the application process itself is a reason to do it. That women sometimes have a hard time sharing their successes, or kind of touting their own horn, but it is something that is good for you to be able to do. It's good for your business. It's a good skill to have. It's good to nominate yourself for other awards too. So I would suggest that it is a good process to go through for the sake of it. But if you are a winner, then there are benefits to that. So one thing is that it builds your brand awareness. You'll be featured as a finalist first and then as a winner at the awards event, but also in media. You'll get to connect and learn. So tonight, we're having a chance to connect and learn. The finalists also get invited to a meetup. And this year at the finalist meetup, we'll have a public speaking coach. So Lisa B will be coming and sharing tips on public speaking. We'll also have a winners gathering. So another way to kind of build your connection is to stay in touch with your peers that were other winners. And then you can showcase your success. So we'll give you a beautiful award, and you'll have certificates that you can showcase. But it's also something you can put on your website, on your email signature, on your LinkedIn profile. And so it's just a chance to brag and say, yeah, I'm an award-winning business owner. And so that's another great reason to take part. And then, you know, Weave is a learning organization. And so part of what the winners receive is an opportunity to continue to grow. All of the winners get to spend 2 hours with a Weave business advisor. So they could be looking at their marketing plan or their website, or maybe do a pricing analysis. And then on top of that, they'll get 10 sessions of leadership coaching. So help them be the best leader that they can, help them reach their goals. So hopefully that's enticing and a nice reward for the winners. Okay, so what happens between March 21st and April 21st when we announce the finalists is that the awards are judged. And we have a wonderful volunteer panel of judges. They're business experts who are outside of the area. They're not in Santa Barbara or Ventura County. They're not in any way voting on someone they know. And we're thrilled to have some of them here tonight. And these judges give their time year after year. Many of them most of them have all been here since before my time, but some of them have been here from the very start of the awards. And so they're really passionate about supporting women with their time in this way. We're excited to welcome 2 new judges this year. We have Carolina Martinez, who's the CEO of Cameo, and Ruth Garcia Corrales, who's the director of the SBA Women's Business Center in LA. And those are both partner organizations of Weave.
Hey, can we have judges who are here give us a wave? Thanks so much. I feel like you guys are the unsung heroes. So thanks, Suzanne.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me and for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation to participate and get to know all these businesses. Amazing.
Nice, thank you guys. And a nice perk of virtual events is that they get to be here. They're from out of town, and so normally the kickoff event isn't something that the judges can make it to, and so a silver lining of having a virtual event. Okay, and then speaking of people who volunteer their time to lift up the SOE community, we have the SOE committee, and that's made up of local entrepreneurs and people working with other small businesses. And many of the committee are also former winners themselves, and many dear friends of Kathy Feldman. So we really appreciate your leadership and guidance. Do you guys want to say hi?
Hi.
Hi, I'm Caroline.
Deborah.
Sabrina, where are you? I saw you. Say hi.
Hi, it's Sabrina.
There she is. I knew you were here.
Nice. And this month we also welcome a new judge, Erica Marin del Campo, joined the committee this year. Erica was a 2020 winner, and she went through a virtual event season. So this year is a virtual event season again. And so she can help kind of give us some guidance on how that felt as we go into this year. So that's really exciting. And when we go into the breakout sessions, we're going to try and put the SOE contact into different rooms so that hopefully you'll get to meet someone who's part of the volunteer group. Okay, so I know that was a lot of information to race through, but it's because I'm trying to save time for us to have breakout rooms and time with Lauren. So we'll head into breakout rooms now. You're going to have 10 minutes to connect in these smaller groups of 3 to 4 people in each room. It's the perfect time to turn on your video, to unmute yourself, and we always like to give a prompt. So we suggest please introduce yourself, maybe share your company name if you're a business owner. And then a nice prompt is to share the name of a local women business owner that you admire. It's very much in keeping with the SOE Awards. Welcome back, everybody. Hopefully you can see on my screen, we're really excited for you to be able to hear from Lauren Jolder from LinkedIn this evening. We were connected to Lauren by Samantha Tobin, who is a volunteer and supporter of We Through LinkedIn, and we've been so thrilled to work with her. Lauren really cares about the power of relationships and networks and connection, and so you can see why she's well fitted in her role at LinkedIn. She created and she leads the Rock Your Profile program to inspire people and empower them to build their professional profile. And Lauren kindly shared her bio with me, and it says that whether she's facilitating experiences or designing interactive learning moments, she's creating one-of-a-kind development opportunities. And that has so been true of my experience of her. She has been really tailoring this presentation for you tonight, really asking about what your needs might be and tweaking it the whole way through. And just her enthusiasm has been fantastic. So we're just really thrilled to have her here. And when she's not at LinkedIn, Lauren is mentoring women, youth and underserved communities. And she volunteers with a nonprofit called Rising International to empower women and girls. So she is a real women's champion, and we're so grateful for her to be here. Lauren, thank you for being here. Thank you for your time and sharing your expertise with us tonight. I'll stop sharing my screen and I'll hand over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kate. What an introduction. Wow. I'd love for you to do all my introductions. So I'm just gonna share real quick and hope that it works, because you know, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And I'll get the right view going so you can see everything. Can everyone see the slides? Cool. I feel like that's the word of 2020 leaking into 2021. Well, as Kate said, thank you so much for having me. Really excited to be here tonight with all of you. And just a huge shout out, obviously, to Kate and Weave and then Samantha for connecting me in and giving me this opportunity to be with all of you. So we are really going to talk about how do you as entrepreneurs unleash your Wonder Woman on LinkedIn. And we're going to go about this a couple different ways. But before we dive in, what I would love to do, I'd love for this to be as interactive of a session as possible. I know Zooms can be rough and the Zoom fatigue is definitely a real thing. So I'd love for us to get interactive in the chat, and I'm going to ask you some questions throughout this presentation today, and hopefully you'll kind of engage and answer them for me. So would love to know right off the bat, what are you most excited to learn about today, specifically with regards to LinkedIn, to Rock Your Profile? What are you most excited to learn? Perfect. So some things coming through already. I love it. More about using LinkedIn to connect through my business. Awesome. Headlines. Yay. We're definitely gonna highlight that. Storytelling. Okay. How to be creative but consistent. Etiquette. What's really important in my profile. How to position myself for jobs and promote my business. Awesome. Finding the right demographic to connect with. Fabulous. So seeing a lot of really good stuff. And then also, does LinkedIn support video content? Yes, we will talk about that. And then how to stand out with your profile. So really good stuff here. And thank you for quickly doing that, because I think what you're going to see is that we are going to touch on a lot of the things that you all just highlighted there. So as Kate said, she did a wonderful introduction to myself, and really quick, again, I'm Lauren. I have been at LinkedIn for about 7.5 years now. So I love the company, and I sit in our marketing organization, lead our Rock Your Profile program. And for anyone who's not familiar, Rock Your Profile is a program we have to educate a range of different folks, members, customers, partners, and we really educate them on how do you build a great profile that tells your true professional story, highlights your skills, showcases your accomplishments, talks about your work experience. And then once you've done that, how do you then leverage the rest of LinkedIn to go connect to opportunity in whatever way that means to you? Because for different groups of people, that value proposition is going to mean very different things. So I'm a big believer in letting you know how we're going to spend our time together. So I wanted you to be clear on what that looks like so you know the value you're getting. First, we're going to kick off with some stats. We're going to talk a little bit about where we are currently in terms of women business leaders and specifically women entrepreneurs and business, the state of that. I pulled some stats on this and everyone's probably pretty familiar with this, but I think it's going to feed very well into the rest of the content we're going to talk through. We are going to get into LinkedIn data, specifically on women. Our teams went out and ran a bunch of research and actually, tried to uncover, is there a difference between the way that women complete their profile on LinkedIn versus men? And we actually found, yes, there is. So I'm going to talk through some of those data insights so you have those. Once we've uncovered that, we're going to switch gears and talk about profile. Really, how do you lean into your LinkedIn profile to tell your story, own your accomplishments, talk about who you are, and also showcase your business and the services you provide and what that looks like. We'll then wrap up a little bit by talking about network and specifically designing a strategic network that you can leverage when you need to. So pull from when you need to, but also give back to when you can. And also a network that can provide you with opportunities for your business. And then finally, we're going to end with a quick activity. So just like you did breakout rooms just then, we are going to break you out into breakout rooms. We're going to get a little more intimate and pair you off. So we'll talk a little bit about that when we get there. But hopefully it will help add some value in terms of your LinkedIn profile and really getting some feedback on that. And then we'll wrap. So we'll come back from the breakouts. I know Kate is going to wrap us up here this evening, and then we'll also just cover some quick next steps and takeaways so that you have actions after today. So with that, I want to start with some stats so we can understand kind of what's the landscape of women-owned business in the US. I know many of you, probably being part of Weave, are very familiar with this. So these aren't going to be surprising, but hopefully it'll help kind of with that baseline of where we are. So it was also really interesting for me to see some of these stats as well. So according to the National Association of Women Business Owners, there's a total of 12.3 million women-owned businesses in the US. 4 out of every 10 US businesses are women-owned, and women-owned businesses are growing at a rate of 5%. So I found this pretty incredible and pretty astounding when you consider the fact that in the research, apparently there were only about 402,000 women-owned businesses in 1972. So been a really big growth rate, and really awesome to see, women kind of contributing here from the business side. Women-owned businesses also generate $1.8 trillion a year. And in addition, they employ 9.2 million people. So, again, some really interesting stats here. I also really wanted to call this out because this is very interesting. Women of color account for nearly 90% of new women-owned businesses annually. In addition, when you look at the growth rate for minority women-owned businesses, it's about a 10% growth rate annually. Now, the growth rate for minority women-owned businesses is actually twice as fast as the growth rate of non-minority women-owned businesses. So it's very impressive to see the data and impact that minority women-owned businesses are having. In fact, this research actually called out that over the past 20 years, businesses that were owned by Black women have increased by 259 per day. Latina-owned firms have increased by 227 per day, and Asian American women-led businesses rose by 104 daily. So really impressive and very clear that minority women are having a significant impact on the production of new small businesses every year. And then lastly, I kind of wanted to throw in some stats around COVID and the pandemic landscape and how that has disproportionately affected women-owned businesses. versus male-owned businesses. So women-owned businesses are actually less optimistic about the future after COVID. According to the most recent US Chamber of Commerce report, only about 24% of female-owned businesses plan to increase their staffing in 2021 versus about 31% in Q1 of 2019. So this is, again, really showing that the pandemic, no surprise, is disproportionately affecting women-owned businesses. So that's kind of the lay of the land of women-owned businesses in the US. I want to switch gears a little bit now and talk women on LinkedIn. And when our teams pulled this research, they found some pretty, probably not surprising things around the way that women complete their profiles on LinkedIn versus their male counterparts. And these were a couple of insights the team came back with. First, women tend to promote themselves and their successes less on LinkedIn than men do. I'm sure not a surprise to anybody in this group because, women have a tough time talking about their successes and really showcasing their accomplishments. So that was a big one. The second one they found is that women's networks are actually smaller on LinkedIn than their male counterparts. Women network differently, and many times they have a smaller network that are these really intimate, close relationships with folks, but not necessarily the breadth, large networks that we see with men on LinkedIn. In addition, women are more likely to have shorter profile summaries on LinkedIn than men do. Again, not a super surprising stat here, given the fact that your summary, which we'll talk about in a second, is where you're really giving that elevator pitch introduction to yourself. And in many of your cases, it's going to be that introduction to your business and the services you provide. So again, not super surprising there. And finally, this one was interesting. Women on average include about 11% less skills than men do on their LinkedIn profile. So in fact, the way women complete their profiles is very different from how men do on LinkedIn. So I want to talk a little bit about how we can solve for some of those gap areas and really lean into your LinkedIn profile so that you can tell your story, not just about you as a professional, but also really showcase your business and the skills you provide and the things that you're bringing to the table that are uniquely you. So again, I want to turn us to the chat, and I want to ask you, as an entrepreneur, when you think about your LinkedIn profile, what is one part of your profile that you feel needs a little bit of love? Can be any area, but drop me something in the chat telling me kind of how you're feeling about profile, one area that could use some love. And if the answer is nothing, that can be nothing too. Maybe you already have a rock star profile, which is great. All right, so I'm seeing some stuff come through: bio, projects, highlighting successes. Yes, highlighting my business acumen. Okay. Links to what I've done, highlights in media, fabulous. Summary, how much detail to put into the job experience. Yes. Okay, love it. So again, all of you are really spot on with this because this is exactly the areas that we are about to dive into and address for profile. So first and foremost, every single profile starts with a great photo. And for all of you, this isn't just a photo of you, but this is really going to be the face of your business. Why is this so important? You can see from the stats here, members who add a profile photo or who have a profile photo get up to 9 times more connection requests, up to 21 times more profile views, and up to 36 times more messages. So something as simple as adding a profile photo actually has a really big impact. Now, when you think about profile photo, you truly want it to represent you, because this is telling your professional community and also potential customers, partners, other folks out there who you are. So you can do this by using a professional headshot. Many folks will do that. And if a professional headshot is you, go for it. You can also snap a photo on your own. We recommend some top tips. As long as you have great lighting, You have a neutral background. The photo just features you. And you're kind of dressed, you know, in whatever you would usually wear to work that's on brand for you. Like I always joke with people, my on brand dress is like a statement necklace and some type of crazy jewelry and then a pattern. But whatever is on brand for you, make sure that your photo truly does represent that. In addition, when you upload it to LinkedIn, just so everyone here knows, you can adjust visibility settings if you want to tweak who actually sees your profile photo. You can also polish up that photo with the photo filters that we have. So just know you have additional tools that you can leverage there. Other big part is increasing your discoverability, and you can do this simply by adding your industry. This is a really important step that a lot of people actually forget about doing. We've found our members with industry information listed, they actually receive up to 9 times more profile views. In addition, we've got over 300,000 people who search by industry every single week on LinkedIn. So it is really important that, you know, you have an industry listed. So I would think about for your business, what industry makes the most sense. And when you pull up to edit your profile, it's right in that introduction section. You can pull it up and add your industry right there. Summary. I know a lot of folks called this out when I asked you in the chat. So this is your opportunity to market you as well as your business. When you think about your summary, you really want it to be that short and sweet elevator pitch. You want to highlight the services that you provide and also talk a little bit about how you're going to add value and contribute. You can focus on aspirations and also career accomplishments, but you don't have to go into super detail on those because you have a whole work experience section where you can really detail out and highlight those pieces from your past experience. I usually tell people a great format to follow if you need kind of a format for your summary is to really give an introduction to who you are, what you do, why what you do matters, and the value or contribution you want to bring to the table and what that looks like for you. So again, great opportunity to weave in your business and what your business offers. Also in your summary, I mean, you'll have additional opportunities to put it into sections in your experience and the featured section, which we'll talk about in a second. But in your summary, you can also have a link to a website if you have a website for your business that you want to showcase right off the bat there as well. Another quick thing on summary, we found that summaries with 40 words or more are more likely to turn up in searches on LinkedIn. So pretty easy thing to do. Just make sure you have a summary of more than 40 words. And the biggest thing I would say to everyone here is don't think that you're alone in this. So, you know, in order to like get some ideas flowing, I would recommend, just like Kate asked the question earlier on about, you know, who's a woman entrepreneur that you really admire. I would think about maybe who some of those key folks are for you and go and take a look at their LinkedIn profiles and see, you know, maybe what they have and get and pull some inspiration from that. In addition, like work with your community of people, whether it's the women in this group, whether it's other folks who know you really well, who can help you to actually build your summary. Because one of the biggest things here is that many women, you saw from the research, are hesitant to talk about their accomplishments. A lot of the time, if you just sit across from someone and you describe what you do or what you're passionate about or the unique skill sets you have, they can find things from that conversation sitting across from you where they're like, wow, why isn't this one thing in your summary? You just talked about all these great skills you bring to the table. It's not there. And many times the person's like, oh yeah, well, I didn't think to put that in there. So just know you can lean on a community of folks to help you build this. You don't have to do it alone. I'm also seeing a question come in, which is a really good one. So thank you, Deborah. I appreciate it. Is summary different than the about section? No, it is not. The about section is your summary. We still call it summary because that's what it is, but it is that about section in your LinkedIn profile. So thank you for bringing that up because that's a super important distinction to make. So your summary is followed by your work experience. This is your opportunity to show your business impact and also results. A couple things when it comes to work experience. First, you don't want to just detail out the day-to-day of what you do. That's really good to talk a little bit about that, but where you really want to focus is, what was the impact that you had? What were the results that you delivered? How did you move the needle on something or change something for an organization? If you, are leading and starting your own business, or if you have a business established that's had an impact in your community, what has that looked like? So yes, focus on some of the day-to-day, but don't get too caught up in the operational piece that you forget to highlight and bring to the forefront what your impact is. In addition, if you have, your own business and it may not yet be as well known or as familiar to folks, just kickstart that experience section with a quick 1 to 2 sentence description of what the business does, because that helps people to kind of level set on, okay, here's the business, and now I'm going to dive into what this person is actually doing, running this business or pulling this business together. So highly recommend that. And then finally, you see kind of some of the data here. When you have your up-to-date positions listed on LinkedIn, you get up to 5 times more connection requests, up to 8 times more profile views, and up to 10 times more messages. So again, it is really important to have that most up-to-date work experience listed. Also keep in mind for work experience, this is a place that you can add rich media if you want. I know several people called that out when we were talking in the chat before. So just know when we talk rich media, it's anything visual that helps to bring your story or your business to life. So anytime you edit your work experience, you'll have the option to add rich media. You can add links, you can add websites, you can add videos, photos, anything that helps to kind of bring that story to life so people can visually connect into what you do. Now, speaking of rich media, this is where we can talk about featuring content, because this is really important. And again, opportunity to bring your business to life. So this actually is at the top of your profile, just so everyone knows, before it comes right after your summary. And the featured section is a fairly new one for LinkedIn. We launched it last year-ish, early last year. So if you don't know about this, definitely check it out and make sure that you're featuring content. What the featured section allows you to do is really showcase the work that you're the most proud of, or that really helps to bring your business to life, and pin it right to the top of your profile. So again, you can share a range of different things. You can pin media content like posts that you've authored on LinkedIn or that others have authored. You can put articles in there that you've done on LinkedIn or that others have authored. And then same thing as the rich media side, you can feature videos, you can feature websites, photos, all sorts of that good stuff. So just a great opportunity for you to really add that rich media right off the bat to the top of your profile so you can bring that piece to life. Recommendations. So really important to kind of round out your profile when you think about building credibility. And when you think about the recommendation section, as women who are entrepreneurs, I would say everyone's probably pretty familiar with Yelp, but this is like kind of the Yelp review for your business, if you will, on LinkedIn. And if you don't have any recommendations, I would highly recommend reaching out to a couple key folks within your network, whether it's customers probably, or other people that you've worked with, who can really help to share insight about you and why they would recommend working with you and or your business. So just a great opportunity for that. The other thing too, I would say about recommendations is it can always be a two-way street. One of the ways that people always get me to do recommendations for them is they say, hey, I just wrote you a recommendation on LinkedIn. Now, would you mind doing one for me? So a lot of people feel awkward about asking for them. That's a very easy way to just be like, hey, I just wrote you a recommendation. Would you mind writing me one in return? So definitely add those if you don't have them. And then the last piece I wanted to cover here was really services. So again, fairly new feature on LinkedIn. What you should see when you log into your profile now is right at the top, we call it the top card where your photo is. You'll see a little button that says open to. And you can click on that button, and one of the drop-down options that should come with that is open to providing services. For anyone who is an entrepreneur, this is a great option for you to be able to switch on LinkedIn, because what it allows you to do is show up in search results when members across LinkedIn are looking for services that match the services that you provide. In addition, you can really hone in and specify what are the services that your business provides, what's your location, you can adjust the visibility preferences, and this also lets potential customers and clients message you for free to inquire a little bit more about the services that you provide and see if they want to potentially do business with you. So I would definitely recommend if you should see that button actually. So if you don't, I'll tell you how to submit a request because it should be fully ramped to everybody. So you should definitely see it. If you don't, let me know. But there is an easy way to request it in case you don't have it. But highly recommend in terms of making sure that you can be found by your customers on LinkedIn, showing that you're open to services. Providing services is a great way to do that. Okay, and then lastly, I wanted to wrap by talking about your professional community and really how do you build that network of reciprocity on LinkedIn, but also a true strategic network that you can kind of leverage and tap into when you need to. I love this quote by Coretta Scott King because I think it's really powerful and true. The greatness of a community is most accurately measured by the compassionate actions of its members. And I would definitely say, you know, LinkedIn is a place where we have a great professional community for you to be able to tap into and to have folks who can help you kind of navigate and get where you need to go and also help tap you into those opportunities. So a couple of things when it comes to designing a strategic network that you can truly activate on LinkedIn. First, make sure you're connected to the right people. I'm sure this isn't any surprise to anybody here, but think about who those right people are for you, whether it's customers, could be executives, CEOs, partners, maybe even potential employees. If you have a business where you're going to be hiring folks, you may want to think about some of those people to connect with. In addition, customize your connection request. I can't stress this enough, and it sounds so simple, but I'll tell you 90% of the connection requests I receive on LinkedIn, nobody customizes them. It's just this generic, like, add me to your network piece. So highly recommend if you're going to reach out to someone and connect with them on LinkedIn, customize that connection request and really outline the why. Why do you want to be added to that person's network? Is it a potential business opportunity for you? Is there a way that maybe you can benefit that person in their organization? What does that look like? So just make sure you do that. I also say curate regularly in terms of your LinkedIn network, not just for where you are currently, but also where you want to go. Your network shouldn't go stale. So just like your profile, you know, you want to set kind of some moments in time, maybe a couple times a year where you're going in and you're checking it to make sure that it's updated and accurately reflects, you know, new skills you've acquired or new opportunities that you've taken on or new business deals that you've done. You want to make sure it reflects that. Same thing with your network. Don't let your network go stale. So I'd go in on a regular basis and make sure that you're curating it to say, do I know the right people in my network right now to help me with where I'm at and to help me with whatever goal for where I eventually want to be, and then curate it to make sure you have those folks. Quality versus quantity, really important. And again, one that seems straightforward, but I don't see this a lot on LinkedIn. So we always advocate for having a network of high quality versus high quantity. Yes, it's good to connect to the right folks. And I know, you know, as entrepreneurs, you definitely probably want to connect to more people, but I would just say, make sure they're high quality connections. One easy way to make sure you maintain quality is by simply deciding what's your connection criteria and then only accepting people into your LinkedIn network based on that criteria. So I'll give you an example. For me, for example, you have to meet 3 criteria to be accepted to my LinkedIn network. First, I have to have met you, either in person or virtually. And if I didn't, I'm probably not accepting that request. Second, you have to customize your request. So if you don't customize it and you just send the generic template, I usually don't accept it. And third, you kind of have to outline that why. Like, why do you want to be connected to me? What's the purpose? People who've done all those 3 things, or a couple of those, I add them to my network and they're high quality connections. I'll say again, 90% of the folks out there on LinkedIn usually don't, so they end up getting rejected. But just a good piece to maintain a high quality network there. And finally, another way to maintain a high quality network is knowing this difference between connections versus followers. Connections, ideally, are for people you know. So in all honesty, you should not be accepting connection requests from anyone that you don't know on LinkedIn. Followers are for people who you may not know, but you actually want them to follow your activity on LinkedIn. So they're not directly connected to you, but they can follow you and see kind of what's going on across LinkedIn and gain the insights that you're sharing, whether you're publishing articles or you're doing posting content that could be beneficial for them. Okay, I am seeing in the chat that may not be able to hear me. So let me do a quick check just to make sure we're okay. Thumbs up, okay, cool. So yeah, couple big things here in terms of just making sure you design that strategic network that can really add value for you. And again, don't let the network just sit there and go stale, because then it doesn't do a whole lot for you. Okay, so with that, I know that was a ton of information. So everyone's probably information overloaded at this point. So we're gonna get a little more interactive so that you can have a moment to kind of digest and also have an opportunity to put some of the stuff we just talked about into action. So we are gonna get into breakout rooms in just a second. And I know the team is gonna help do that. What I'd love for you to do in your breakout rooms is, if you don't know the person once you arrive, just introduce yourself to them. I will say the person who goes first is the person who was up the earliest today. So whoever woke up the earliest, you're going to introduce yourself first, and then your other person in your pair will introduce themselves. What I'd love for you to do is pull up your LinkedIn profile. So maybe right now, while I'm giving you instructions, make sure you have your profile ready to go. And then what you're going to do when you arrive to your breakout room is review your partner's LinkedIn profile. So you'll pull up theirs and you'll look over it real quick. Then what you're going to do is actually provide that person a little bit of feedback. So you're going to tell them, here's one thing that really stood out to me about your profile that I loved, that I think you did really well. And here's one area that you could make even stronger. And because all of you are incredible entrepreneurs, I would love for you to come in with that lens of, you know, here's one thing you can do from an entrepreneurial lens to make it stronger. And then you'll just swap. So your partner will then have an opportunity to review your profile, and they'll provide you some feedback on that as well. Now, I know from the poll we did at the beginning, there may be a couple folks who don't have a profile or you're just getting started. That's totally okay. Maybe then just share with your partner, you know, after seeing a lot of the content we just talked through and the tips around profile, maybe what's one key action that you want to take to get started, and then get your partner's feedback and ideas to support you in that area. All right. Makes sense. Does anybody have any questions before we break out one last time?
Lauren, do you want to do 10 minutes? Do you think, is that a good amount of
time?
Yes,
thank you, Kate.
Okay.
Yes, we'll have about 10 minutes. So, you know, 5 minutes for you, 5 minutes for your partner. Awesome. Yay. Well, thank you all for doing that. I hope that was somewhat helpful for you in terms of feedback. I just wanted to turn to the chat one more time. and have you drop in one insight that you got from your breakout conversation with your partner. One insight about your LinkedIn profile. And I will say that we did learn that Lisa Amador is the one you want to check out for profile inspiration, because she's got a pretty good one.
Oh, thank you.
All right, couple things coming in here that it's time for an update. Love it that my about section is too esoteric. Interesting. Okay. That I should work on my summary and more recommendations, that I need to change my focus, that a good headshot makes a huge difference. Yes. That I need to go in and update my profile. And you know what? That's okay. Like, I'll tell you, the more you can just set aside those key times and carve out of your schedule, like I do it on a quarterly basis. I go in every quarter and I just check my profile and I make sure if there's anything that needs to be updated or pulled in, I do that. So, you know, just carve out the time for like 5 minutes. That's it. Excited to learn that my profile popped. Yes, Lisa. How interesting it is to learn about other businesses. Absolutely. And that you need more successes. Okay. Really important, especially as women entrepreneurs, y'all, that you're showcasing your successes and especially your business. So love that you got some good gems from that conversation. And I hope that after this session, it's inspiring you to hopefully go and use a lot of those best practices we just talked about and put them into action. So the last thing I wanted to leave you with here is action. Speaking of, because I'm a big believer that talk is cheap, action's where it's at. So a couple things, determine top behaviors that hold you back, if any, and make a change. You saw some of that data that we talked about for women specifically and some of the gaps on LinkedIn. So whether it's maybe you're not showcasing those accomplishments, maybe you're not, don't have that broad network, maybe you need to showcase more skills, whatever that is, pivot if you need to and make that change. Review your LinkedIn profile, ensure it does highlight your business, your accomplishments, your skills, and your recommendations. Curate that network, make sure it's a network of true high quality versus quantity, and then also activate it to achieve whatever those business goals are for you. Add the services that your business offers, signal you're open to providing services on your profile if you haven't yet done that. And act on one profile insight. I know you just pulled a bunch in the chat there that you got from your partner during those breakout sessions. And then also, if you want as well, make sure you connect with that person on LinkedIn. And now you have some great ways to do that. So with that, I think that I'm going to turn it back. Oh, just really quick, in case you didn't know, I wanted to leave you with a quick reminder from two of my favorite women in all the land, Kamala and Michelle, to let you know you've got this, because I know we're in pretty tough times right now, and especially you all being like brave enough and bold enough to be entrepreneurs and have a business right now is pretty incredible. So remember, you can always carve out those small chunks of time. Don't tackle this all at once, and don't feel like you're alone. You've got a big community of support to help you make those changes. So don't forget, you've got this. Oh, and then last but not least, before I hand it back over to Kate, sorry, one last time, just wanted to collect some feedback from all of you. So you can easily just pop open on your phone, your camera app, and you can scan that link that you see right there, hold it up, and it'll bring you right to a quick survey. You can also just manually type in the link as well. The survey is literally 3 questions. It's going to take you less than 30 seconds. It's going to be the easiest survey you've ever done in your life, I promise you. And the feedback's really important, just to let us know how the session went for you, and let me know so I have feedback and make sure it was value add for you. Okay, and with that, Kate, shall I turn it back to you?
Thank you. And it really is quick because I just did mine just in that time since you've had it up. So, Thanks, Lauren. That was really great, Lauren. I love how achievable all of your kind of suggestions feel. Like I feel like the first time I saw Lauren's presentation was I watched the video and I was just going to watch it and not make any changes. But I ended up opening my LinkedIn and making changes as I went. And even like today, I'm like, okay, I'm going to follow this person here. So thanks so much for that. If I could get you to stop sharing your screen, Lauren, and I'll just put a wrap up slide out. But thank you so much.
Yeah,
and
thank you to you and the team for having me as well. Really appreciate it.
I would definitely second the challenge to connect with the people that you met tonight in both your breakout rooms and anyone else that you didn't get a chance to connect to, but you might want to, but personalize that message. I think that's really good advice. Other action points I would say is please do consider about nominating someone. Think about your network, think about the people in it and who might you want to nominate for the SOE Awards on Monday when they open. And it can be yourself, or why not nominate yourself and somebody else? And so we'll follow up with everyone on Monday and send you, where to go to nominate. And that's very quick also. It's kind of 1 to 2 minutes. We'd love to encourage you to stay in touch, sign up for the Weave newsletter or the SOE newsletter and hear about other upcoming sessions. And I also wanted to really quickly show you on the Weave website how you can see what's coming up, because we have some great sessions coming up soon. Give me a second. So on Weave's website, we have a new events calendar. If you go to events and upcoming calendar, you would have seen today's event here. And then you'll see we have Cafe Connexito coming up on Friday, and that is a kind of networking group. It's for anyone Spanish speaking, and that's going to be a time to kind of set some goals for the year. So there's a little bit of hearing from a client, and then there's another kind of breakout session. So time to kind of connect again. And then on February 10th, we have a training, supercharge your capacity, strengthen your strategy. And so we have this great presentation from one of our League members, the League of Extraordinary Women. She's going to be sharing about, okay, you have all these big dreams and things you want to do, but how do you find the time to make them happen? And then we also have in February a networking group that's the English version, and where we'll be focusing on how do you build connections during these virtual times with kind of networking events? How do you kind of build and grow your network? So check out the calendar anytime. And that's also where you'll see about upcoming SOE events. Does anyone have any last questions before we sign off? We're so grateful for all of you for coming, for the time you've invested in yourself and the network, and to everyone who's part of SOE already, thanks so much.